Hi Alex, I've put a session together. I've put it in the main Word document, which is a live document on Dropbox. So the link that I shared on the Saturday sessions, and I'll put it in the On Training Peaks, should link you back to this session that you're seeing now. So Monday evening, I don't know which lane is your quicker lane versus your developing lane, so I've just labelled 1 and 2 through this. It's obvious, obviously, because one does more volume than the other. You mentioned that you wanted to work with your athletes on balance in the stroke and wondered whether we could integrate a single arm drill into this session, which is fine. Single arm drill has its pros and cons, and it can be really useful, but there are some pitfalls with single arm drill. The danger being, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, the danger being that I'm looking at what I can see in my camera, not much, that if somebody's got a leading arm, if I turn, I'll turn this way slightly. Okay, so somebody's got a leading arm, I think you can see me there, and they're swimming along and they're using the other arm to do the work, then there's a danger that the less technically able swimmer, what they tend to do is they roll slightly onto the side and then they just kind of paddle away like this, and the head's up and they're just breathing away. They might dip the head in now and again, but as you can imagine, the feet are dangling at the back and there's no rotation. They're just kind of paddling away like they're in a canoe, and it is not particularly helpful. I mean, you can use it in that situation just to encourage that high elbow and get them over the top of the stroke and really focus on that. And if that's the element that you're taking away from the single arm, just that feel of getting over the top and pushing the water back from your elbows to your fingertips and doing it nice and steady with a paddle, just so you're feeling that, then that's okay. But we don't want them to get into the situation where they're just kind of just on the side, just doing where they're dropping the elbow and they're just sliding the hand back through the water. We've got to get them over the top of it, push the whole load of water back for it to work. I'd much prefer to use the single arm drill in a way that allows us to rotate in the stroke both ways. So we're rotating both to the side that is doing the work and the side that is not doing the work. The way I tend to do this is to get one of those little pull buoys that we give to the juniors, the ones that are kind of half size. If you give them one of those in the hand, just to grab onto, and that's in the leading hand. I've got my cycling mitts, and so that acts as a bit of an anchor in the water. The thing we need to watch is that they don't then allow that to drift over the midline. So it encourages a really good open posture. So shoulder blades back, open out the chest to make sure that leading arm stays nice and straight in the water. And then we're in a good high body position in the water. I'd prefer to do this without fins, otherwise people just really kick hard and it just detracts from the value really of the drill. So we're in the position with the little pull buoy, and we're going to get them to do the pull as I mentioned before, really keeping that elbow high over the top of the stroke. But the key is, as they go in, we've got to really encourage that rotation as we would see it in the full stroke. So they're going to breathe as normal, but then as they go in, they're going to really, as the hand enters the water, setting up the catch, they're going to do the rotation and then pull back. Okay, so we really need them to keep in, so they're rotating, the face is in the water, they're rotating almost under the armpit almost of that hand that's straight out in front of the water. And this sets up, as you can imagine, Unco, which is the next drill, which is quite a technical drill, Unco, isn't it? So fins on for Unco, one hand down by the side, one arm is doing the work. It's a single arm drill, just like we've done, but you are only allowed to breathe to the non-working side, so it forces that rotation to both sides. There are numerous reasons why you can have imbalance in a stroke, and as I've put some of those in the guidance here. So we need a good high body position in the water, we need a good streamlined kick, and we need the breathing to be right, because if the head goes up at the front, what we tend to see is the legs go down, and to balance the head going up, one arm, if we're breathing to the right, the head comes up to the right, the left arm will press down on the water to allow that to happen, but at the back, instead of having a nice light streamlined kick, we get a great big scissor kick to balance it. which is where you see the imbalance creeping in. So the imbalance can be the fact that somebody's got a weaker left arm than a weaker right arm, and most of us have got one arm stronger than the other. And you may see that someone who's got a really good high elbow position, a really good solid pull through with a stronger arm, because of the weakness in the shoulder on the non-dominant side, it may be that the way that manifests is that they drop the elbow, and when you're dropping the elbow, you kind of see the hand almost slide across the water rather than be over the top and pushing back the whole thing. So you kind of can watch out for that and ask the athletes, actually, look at your own elbow position. Is your elbow nice and high or on that side, or is your elbow being allowed to drop and slide through the water? And it may be that they're not strong enough to hold that position. So again, that's something they can then work on in their own time. So maybe part of this session is about identifying the imbalance in the stroke, so that the athletes can then think about how they're going to correct that, which might be technique in the pool, and practicing some of this stuff, or it might be that they do a little bit of strength work elsewhere. So what have we got in the session? We've got a nice, a fairly routine warm-up. You've got your 2 lanes. I'd suggest it works easier usually if you set both lanes off together for each step on this warm-up. So 4 lengths, very, very, very steady, super easy, so easy that it's kind of, why am I here? Easy. That's the point. It's just to gradually bring the heart rate up, get the muscles moving. Regroup them, which will mean that the faster lane will have a little bit more rest. That's okay at this stage. Then we're going to do 4 lengths as breaststroke out, front crawl back, just lifting. It's still easy. 4 out of 10, kind of just vaguely getting into moderate. And then we'll do a couple of 50 metres, so in altogether 100 metres, but as 250s, we're going to swim hard out, so 8 out of 10, not eyeballs out, just above threshold. At the far end, they can just tell them, look, 5 seconds rest, and then just really easy back. Regroup them, then just repeat it for your second 50. And then finally, we've got 100 metres as a continuous swim, so they're just going to do 1 length super easy, 1 length moderate, 1 length at threshold or thereabouts. So just tell them that you kind of like your kilometre pace, and then 1 length hard, again, not eyeballs out, just to bring that heart rate up. And then they can regroup, and they'll be resting while you're explaining the drills that we're going to be doing in the main kind of technique set. I've amalgamated the technique and the main here, which is fine. We get into this pattern where we've got to do a warm up, and we've got to do technique, and we've got to do main set. But actually, there's nothing wrong with squishing the technique and the main together at this stage in the season, because it's all done at a fairly steady pace. So I've put in brackets what you may want to do for the more able lane in terms of the volume, and play it by ear, because you might find that actually there's not much difference in the lanes. I don't know. I've not done the Monday evening session before, so I don't know what the differential is. So we're just going to start off with 4 lengths, continuous swim, pull with paddles, just to allow them to feel the effort. Maybe have a little look at the elbows, like I said. Does it feel the same both sides? Remember the paddles, if they've got those finished pointy ones just over that middle finger, so it's flappy, so they'll know, hopefully, if they're dropping the elbow, the paddle might come off and give us a good bit of feedback. So 100 metres of that, and then we usually follow this whole part whole, so we'll go just into another same volume again of freestyle, no paddles, just a normal freestyle stroke, just to see how that feels, that awareness. If they picked anything up during the pull with paddles, how does it feel? Is it less noticeable without the paddles, which it probably will be, because the paddles will magnify any difference in strength. Then we're going to move on to 475, so in total 300 metres in this, as your single arm drill request. So I'd suggest that, like I say, one of those little tiny pull buoys that the juniors use, just in the leading arm, just to keep that arm just as a bit of feedback, really. Where is the arm? Keep it nice and high on the water, so it's not sinking down into the water or coming across the midline. And you can explain to them about high elbow, a nice straight pull through, middle finger always moving, so there's no dead point in that stroke whatsoever. Make sure that you get a nice good shoulder elevation at that very end of the stroke, but the middle finger doesn't stop. So we really want to be. It's a really good drill actually for pointing out where people have dead spots, and might be dropping the elbow. So just watch for that when you're coaching. If you see somebody coming out and they're really stretching out, and then you see the pause and the elbow drops, and then they're going to catch. Just a little watch for that, because a little dead spot, and you'll see that their speed in the water will reduce. So really good opportunity to spot for that. So we'll do one length of that, and then what they do is they leave the pull buoy on the side, and then they do 2 lengths of swim, and then they pick up the pull buoy, and they do 1 length of drill, and then 2 lengths of swim. So again, we've got the whole integrated into this pattern here. Once we've done that, we can have a little regroup at the chat, and then repeat the whole thing with the other arm working. The left. You can do. I've put right first, right arm working, then left. You can tell them if you want that they start with the dominant, their preferred side of breathing. Most people would have a preferred side. If they want to start, so they're breathing at the first on their preferred side, that probably makes sense. What else have we got? Then we've got a good chunk just of hole, 100 or 150 meters freestyle without any toys. Then we're going to go into uncoordinated drill. Really great drill. It's quite technical, as you know. It's done with fins on. Otherwise, it's really hard. You can try it without fins, but it's really hard without fins. And we will do, like I've said there, so we'll do unco for 25 and then freestyle back with the fins on. So in total there's a couple 100 meters worth of that, and then we'll take the fins off and we'll just swim again for 100 or 150 meters, just to reinforce and consolidate the learning. They're not just repeating those step 6 and 7, so repeat the unco and then repeat the freestyle to bring up the volume. Now I've calculated it, top of head calculations might be wrong. 1,500 meters and 1,750 meters for lane 2. So by that now we're probably up to just over 2k for the more able lane. So play it by ear at this stage. You might just want to do a 400 meters freestyle at moderate pace, or if you want you can reverse the warm-up, starting with the kind of primers at the end and then gradually reducing the pace so it's a cool down. Or it might just be that by now there's only enough time for 50 meters of breaststroke or backstroke just to stretch out and bring the heart rate down. If you can, remember to summarize before you do the cool down. So the last couple of lengths, just to repeat what we've done. It's the old kind of, I'm going to tell you what we're going to learn today, do the learning, and then I tell them what you've just learned. That old classic in terms of education. Right, I hope that was helpful. It's a bit long, sorry about the ramble, but it's good to do that before your session so you know what the aims are. Okay, hope it goes well.